So I usually review just a random collection of movies on any given week. However, this week is a little bit different as I decided to have a bit of a theme going. I'm watching slightly more weird and trippy looking movies all week. So I started with In the Earth, which did indeed turn rather strange, and today I'm continuing with this one. And to my surprise, these first two movies share quite a few similarities. Now in hindsight, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise considering the titles. As Gaia means Mother Earth, or is the Greek goddess of the Earth spirit or something like that. However, I didn't even think about all of that when I picked these movies. And yeah, as it turns out, these two actually tackle some eerily similar ideas. Ideas of Earth as kind of a spiritual entity of some sort that might manifest itself in some sort of physical form. And the interesting thing is that while the ideas are very similar, these end up being very different movies. Because they take very different approaches even though both are actually made with similar constraints. They are both low-budget minimalist movies with a very limited cast shot in the middle of nowhere. And while In the Earth takes place in the woods of Britain, this one takes place in the jungles of South Africa. So that alone means you will inevitably have some clear differences between the two. Now, funny story, for some reason when the movie started I thought we were in the Amazon. I don't even know if they specified the location or if I just assumed that a jungle must be the Amazon. So when some of the characters started speaking what sounded like Dutch to me, I was a bit puzzled. I would have expected Spanish or Portuguese, but Dutch was a little bit strange. Well, turns out it's actually South Africa and they were speaking Afrikaans, which makes a whole lot of sense. Anyway, enough rambling. What's the actual story here? What's the movie about? Well, we follow this woman who's some sort of forest ranger type character, who's out there in the wilderness doing her thing, keeping an eye on the situation. When she runs into two strangers, and I honestly don't really want to give anything more away, because things soon get very interesting. And like In the Earth, this one also gets increasingly weird, trippy, and sort of out there. However, this one just kind of dives off the deep end almost immediately. There's not much build-up, things get stranger as the movie progresses for sure, but there's some odd stuff that's sort of out of this world already early on. And the things that start happening are actually pretty creepy and unsettling. And where In the Earth went for a strange and psychedelic editing style to portray the weird stuff, this one took a much more concrete and physical approach, just laying it all out there. And I gotta say, I don't know exactly what the budget for this one was, but I doubt it was very much at all. However, they put every penny of it to great use, as I loved what they did with this from a visual production design point of view, I guess you could say. The overall look and feel of it. Because the effects in this are very impressive. It's a creative mix of CGI and practical effects, and most of it is great. As in, I wouldn't really complain about most of these effects in a massive like $200 million movie. In fact, I've seen major studio movies with far worse effects than this. So in the context of this tiny little movie with no budget, the effects here are nothing short of excellent. Now, I also found the movie itself to be rather gripping and just overall interesting. And unlike In the Earth, this one never lost me, and I feel like it just took similar ideas and simply executed them better. And as a whole, as a coherent piece of work, I much preferred this one. Now, I liked individual things about In the Earth better, but as a whole, I think this one just did a much better job capturing the essence of what it wanted to do. It's also just less vague about things and it feels a lot more focused. Now with that being said, I did have some trouble connecting with the characters here. I didn't find myself to be all that emotionally invested in the story, so I didn't end up loving this. I think the character writing could have used some work, but other than that, I think they did a fantastic job with the resources they had. And all things considered, I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a solid 7. And if you're into weird and trippy movies, I definitely think you should give this one a shot. Or you could just skip it too, after all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic.